Hi guys, this is Sam Goulet here from Imagine Therapies. I hope you are excited for this webinar. This is the 5th webinar we've ever done, and we're really enjoying them. We've done over the last 5 weeks. We've done a webinar every week. This is the first one that we've done, which is going to be introducing this new early intervention program, which is mainly geared towards professionals. So we've done a similar webinar geared towards parents, parents of children with autism specifically. And tonight what we're going to be talking about is how the Imagine Therapies early intervention program can benefit health professionals, and particularly the clients that are being seen by those health professionals. So hopefully we've got some people tuning in, some OTs, some psychologists, some speechies, and whoever else. I hope we can share a few things which might benefit your clients. If you're tuning in through Google+, you'll see on the right-hand side there's a group chat option. So feel free to use that throughout the presentation. Just type in any questions you might have, or anything, any questions, or in particular, if you're tuning in from a rural or remote area, we'd love to hear from you. So just let us know. If you're tuning in via YouTube, you won't be able to use that functionality, but if you jump onto Facebook, if you go onto the Imagine Therapies Early Intervention page, what you'll find is that there is a post there from me about 15 minutes ago, where I've just posted the link and a few other things. You can type in there some questions in the comments. I've got that here in front of me too, and I'll be checking that as we go through. So my name is Sam Goulet. I'm an occupational therapist. I'm head of clinical services at Imagine Therapies. And so, yeah, I'm excited to be sharing this with you tonight. Now, I've started off every webinar with this, so I'm not going to neglect it tonight. This is a quote by Dr. Stanley Greenspan, who many of you will be familiar with. He said, "All children have within them the potential to be great kids. It's our job to create a great world where this potential can flourish." And that's something that I personally and professionally believe is absolutely 100% true. And one of the guiding values behind the early intervention program is creating a world where these kids, they can flourish and we can see their full potential. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So just a little bit of background about our company. We're a private provider of allied health services to children in Southeast Queensland. Our service offers occupational therapy, speech, pathology, psychology, and case coordinator services for children and families. We are early intervention provider panel members. So we, as many of you also out there, are likely supporting children who are diagnosed ASD still within their early intervention window. And along with you, we are also early intervention providers. We've been in operation for about 4 years now. We've gone through a lot of growth over those 4 years. We've grown, from one very small service, 2 therapists, to being a whole number of therapists, multidisciplinary, in 2 different clinics. So we have a clinic just about to open up in Highgate Hill in Brisbane, which we're very, very excited about. If you'd like to learn more about us, you can check out our website, imaginetherapies.com.au. However, it's under construction right now. We've had a few tech issues that we're ironing out. However, you can also tune in to us through our Facebook or Instagram accounts. So that's the other way you can find out a bit more information about us. This early intervention program webinar, we're going to cover how the program was developed and how it's going to be delivered. We're going to learn about the need for parent involvement in early intervention. We're also going to go through the advantages for allied health professionals, for parents, for families, and specifically the benefit to rural and remote areas of Australia. And then how to find out more info about the program or how to refer your clients to the program. Now, the power of parents in early intervention. So many of you who are also involved in early intervention, I'm sure you've had many of the same experiences that we have had. So quite often we'll have a family come into the clinic pre-diagnosis. They'll, raise with us that there's quite a few things which they're concerned about. And then parents start on this journey to eventually they gain a diagnosis of ASD. It's usually rocks a parent's world. They're certainly not expecting this diagnosis in most cases. Many of them aren't health professionals, or many of them don't even know very much about child development. And often it's very difficult for parents to manage. And you guys, like us, see this every single day. Parents come in, they find managing their child and difficult behaviours and different needs, balancing with siblings and balancing with their work life and things like that. It becomes quite a juggle, and these parents often become very stressed. That has a number of effects. So as we go through and we start the early intervention journey, we know that some of these parents who are stressed, they're less consistent with things like home programs, or if you're asking them to do things at home, or passing messages to the teacher, or even just changing the way they're doing things day to day. Often this level of parent stress can be quite an obstacle to overcome. So one of the ways that we have designed this program, what we'll talk about, is how to include parents in the early intervention process a little bit more consistently. And what we are hoping is that through this program, we can help a whole lot of parents in the process. So this is just a quote from McConaughey and Diggle from 2007. They did a really interesting systematic review titled here on the right-hand side, Parent Implemented Early Intervention for Young Children with Autism Spectrum Disorder, a systematic review. A quote from them: training parents as co-therapists allows consistent handling and ensures that intervention is appropriate in enhancing children's earlier social relationships. The potential benefits of parent training are increased skills, renewed confidence, and reduced stress for parents as well as for children. Another quote here, this is from Case Smith and Marion Arvidsson. They said, parent education about autism and behaviour management can improve the parent's confidence and self-esteem and can improve their child's behaviour. Now, overall, the evidence into parent involvement in early intervention is emerging, and what you guys will relate to, on an anecdotal level, this is something that we already know. Okay, we already know that when parents get involved in therapy, that what we achieve with that child is often quicker and to a higher quality. And it's not something that can easily be replaced in another way. The strategies taught in this program that we're going to be sharing with you tonight, everything that goes into the program is evidence-based. So, all of the strategies that we use in the different modules, which we'll talk about, are supported with the best evidence. And that's something that means a lot to us at Imagine Therapies. We believe in evidence-based practice and using the best available evidence to guide our practice. And that's something that we've tried to continue as we've designed this program. So the early intervention program itself, we're hoping to launch in March this year, and the program will actually be available nationally. It's an online training and support program for parents, carers, and siblings. And basically, what we've been sharing with people as we've been designing this is, we want parents to basically become like a transdisciplinary therapy assistant. So just like in that quote I read before, we want them to almost be co-therapists. Now, we figure the best way to do this in this day and age, considering all the time pressures on parents, is via web-based content delivery. So basically, it's a subscription service. Parents will be able to log in to our website. They'll be able to access 12 modules of training education, which we'll talk about in the next slide. It'll be a combination of live and recorded webinars, so similar to this, likely on a different platform, but they'll be available both live and on demand. Okay, so some webinars will be live, like this one. Some will be recorded. However, after they're broadcast, they'll be accessible live on demand. And there'll also be a number of printable resources available, which parents can use in enacting home programs and things like that. The program also includes case coordination, and for some subscription levels, child group therapy is also available in person or via Skype. So, like I mentioned, the goal is to equip parents to be the greater driving force behind their child's progression. And what we're hoping to see is that parents who are engaged with the program, who are learning the content, will start to really pick up their involvement in their child's actual early intervention therapy. We hope to provide parents with really practical and usable skills that they'll be able to use every day. So we're hoping that, throughout these modules that I'll be talking about in just a second, they'll get from these actual usable skills that they can use. We are expecting that what we're going to find is that parent stress will decrease, and that they'll have a greater understanding within families. A lot more patience, for example, with siblings as they come to a greater understanding of what it means to have a sibling with ASD, and then providing by correspondence support and education for parents in rural and remote communities in Australia. So that's something that we've really focused on in developing this program. We've had a lot of discussions with the autism advisors and lots of other different advisory groups, and we found that rural rural and remote areas in Australia are very, very underserviced, and they have very, very little opportunity to access any kind of early intervention support. So we're designing this program to really be beneficial, particularly for them, because it is web-based content delivery and training. So, like I mentioned, the parents will get a secure login, and this is a picture of our website here. They'll be able to log on and access the webinars and recorded presentations, all of which have been created and reviewed and refined by allied health professionals. So there's also going to be forums where they can connect with other parents in similar situations. They'll also be able to ask questions from time to time to parents. And that peer support is something also that we really want to encourage, particularly in those rural and remote areas where, there may be hundreds of kilometres between, parents who, would really benefit from connecting in a similar situation. We also are really excited that parents will be able to access, the webinars on demand after their broadcast. They'll continually be able to be upskilling, to be learning, to be growing in their educational journey. They can tackle the training modules in their own time and at their own pace, and they have access to, the community forum, which is going to be really beneficial. The training modules here, there's 12 training modules that will be, it's one module a month. It's designed to be over a 12-month period. And you can see here, there's a number of different categories for the modules that we'll be covering. So, for example, in March, it's going to be very simply in the first month of the program, understanding autism. So we'll go into depth about the diagnosis, what it means, some of the implications, some of the research and things like that. And then you can see here we go through, we hit all, most of the really important areas. So covering sensory systems, helping parents understand, sensory modulation and sensory profiles and all of those things. Communication, attachment, parenting, social skills, a whole bunch of different areas, all of which are really important, will be covered within the 12-month program. From month to month, this is how it looks. So, for example, one of the months is developing motor skills. You can see here that each week there is a webinar or presentation, and then associated with that webinar are online resources that the parent can use, print off and literally use that week. So, for example, here, week 1, how motor skills develop from infancy to 5 years. So in that webinar, we'll be going over the fundamentals of how motor skills develop. And then associated with that will be a number of milestone checklists from 0 to 7, where parents can actually take that milestone checklist, do a few activities with their child, which will be here, which will also be published, to kind of measure where their child is at with their milestones and find out what areas they may be behind. And then again, week 2, so focusing a little bit more on gross motor development, and then going through with them with the online resources, what are the foundation gross motor skills, and putting that together in a checklist, and then being able to use that to guide what they do with their child. So this is kind of how it looks. We're really excited. I think this is a really good format. One of the real benefits of having these available on demand after their broadcast is that, we'll talk about this a little bit more as we go on, but fathers and, grandparents and siblings, they can all learn this stuff too. It's not just the one person who's bringing them to the clinic, in the day, who gets a little bit of, upskilling from the therapist. It can literally be the whole family. And we really think that's valuable. So once again, here, the resources. So they'll be made available via the secure login from week to week. And once they're made available, they will be available on demand. So if they want to, print more off, 5 or 6 months down the track, that's absolutely going to be accessible for them. The resources that will be on there will be the best and the most effective resources compiled from around the internet, and the authors will be credited in that regard. Along with, there will be some original Imagine Therapies material that will be that copyrighted material that will be available online to original content that will only be available exclusively to people enrolled in the program. And all of the resources that we'll be using are drawing upon evidence-based approaches. So they're really going to be fantastic, high-quality resources that parents will be able to access. So another aspect of the program, we mentioned before, there's going to be case coordination and group therapy options. And if parents want periodic assessment, however, that is also something that we can work with you on. As their main allied health professional. So the case coordinator will be assigned to each family, and if necessary and if requested, they'll be able to, via Skype or in person, meet with each parent, talk about their how they're going with the program, helping them with specific issues that may be arising, and things like that. So all our case coordinators are trained allied health assistants, and they usually have hands-on experience in delivering early intervention for children with autism. Actually, without exception, they do. For children in areas that are close to an Imagine Therapies clinic, group sessions are available, and they can be facilitated by your family's case coordinator. So if the family that you're seeing, they're having their regular OT or psych or speechy session, but they would also like a group session facilitated by us, that's something that, of course, we can accommodate. And in that regard, we'd use your treatment goals, we'd use your treatment plan, and things that you have established, that are goals. We would work that into the group opportunities that are provided to those kids. Now, if one of your clients is going to be attending our group sessions, as part of their subscription to the program, you can absolutely collaborate with our case coordinator, and that will really help provide that consistency that I'm talking about. Now, like I mentioned before, we'll have a large focus on rural and remote families. So Skype or telehealth support consultations will be held with a case coordinator, or with an allied health professional if it's needed, periodically if families are living in a rural or remote area. Now, what we're going to see, the advantages of this program is we're going to see parents being less stressed. And because of that, we're going to see more consistency with following through with the home programs and between session activities provided by you. So you guys are you're doing your early intervention thing. It's I'm sure it's working fantastically. But what we're hoping to do is to really enhance your efforts by upskilling these parents and giving them the skills so that they can go and put in action primarily what you're giving them, and then also the content that they are learning through the program. So this is only going to help support that. What we're also going to see is that parents are going to need less time for teaching and education and support, which often tends to take away from your time one-on-one with the child. So as allied health professionals, you are going to have more time to focus directly on the child and not have to spend as much time, whether it is during that billable or non-billable time with the parents or with the families and things like that. All of the information presented is created and reviewed by our multidisciplinary team and advisors. It's all based on the best available evidence, and we'll be consistently updating it. So you can be assured that your clients, as they're subscribed with the program, they are going to be getting the best available information, which is constantly being reviewed. Now, all of the information and resources the client needs is in one place, and it's much easily accessible than it is now. So you guys, I'm sure you've also found that a lot of parents are out there surfing the internet, finding all sorts of things related to autism and early intervention. What we're really looking forward to is parents being able to tune into one place and getting reliable information from allied health professionals without all the rubbish that's out on the internet at the same time. One of the other things we're really looking forward to is that both parents and basically the whole family will be able to engage in the modules. So it's really going to be fantastic for both mothers and fathers, to be able to get into, some of the meat of this stuff. And, it can all be done outside of work hours. So it's really going to be fantastic. Parents can put their kids to sleep. They can sit down and for an hour they can watch this presentation and both learn how to better support their child from day to day. It's really going to be fantastic. The content is accessible any time of the day and night. So of course, if parents prefer to wake up early and to do a bit of education then, certainly that's something that they can do. Fathers can tune in during their lunch break, or working parents can do that. It's really what's most convenient for the parent. We're also looking forward to parents in rural and remote communities being able to connect with other families, in particular in similar situations, via the online forum. So other parents who are using the program, who are implementing the strategies, they'll be able to talk about things which they did, which seemed to work, or things that they did which didn't seem to work, and they'll be able to refine and support each other through implementing some of the strategies that are being taught. And it's because it is, like I mentioned before, because it's web-based delivery, remote families can take advantage of the program regardless of distance, and all they need is access to an internet connection and a computer. So even those areas out there in the outback who don't have access to the internet at home, as long as they can access their local hospital, which should have like a broadband or telehealth or satellite connection, they'll be able to use this program. They'll be able to access it via those government resources like hospitals. So with the funding of the program, it is a subscription program. There's a number of levels of subscription, and each has a different cost associated with it. This is still something that's in development. However, we've mainly designed the program for parents who have children still within that early intervention window, so before the age of 7. So they'll be able to, like I mentioned, we're early intervention provider panel members. So they'll be able to use their Helping Children with Autism funding, and they'll be able to claim the subscription costs under the training and resources allocation of their funding. The processing and funding is done in-house. So we as Imagine Therapies process the funding straight from DSS. So it's not something that is any additional paperwork liability on you guys as professionals. And, depending on the need, if there is a need for input from another allied health professional, for example, if you're an occupational therapist out there and you're really hoping that your client will be able to connect with a speech therapist, that's certainly something that we can arrange through the program. So certainly if you've got a great rapport with a child, then we're here to support you as their primary therapist. And that's certainly something that we honour, and we look forward to working alongside other professionals with that. However, if there is another discipline that you need, you can access them through the program with different levels of subscription. Now, to discuss the funding options with parents, we have a standard no obligation meeting where we can meet with them via Skype or telehealth or in person, and we could talk about the program and what level of subscription is most beneficial for those parents. So that's the program. Now, all you have to do to refer to parents to the program is have them email ITEIP, so that stands for Imagine Therapies Early Intervention Program, at imaginetherapies.com.au. All they have to do is send an email to that address with their contact details. One of us will give them a call and we'll set up their advisory meeting, and then we'll get the ball rolling. Now, when our website should be up and running again very, very soon, so you can direct them to imaginetherapies.com.au. They can also call our head office, which is up on the Sunshine Coast, at that number there, 07549368807. Or they can also contact us through our Facebook page. So if they log onto there and send us a message, that's another way that they can connect with us to get on the program. So I really appreciate you watching, guys. I hope this is something that you feel can benefit your families. If you have any questions that you'd like us to answer for you, just jump on Facebook, put a comment in the tag or send us a message. The final post that I put up there, I'll be keeping an eye on that for the rest of the night. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to just lock them in there. Otherwise, we appreciate you watching. Best of luck in your journey with your clients. We're sure that you're all fantastic therapists, and we look forward to hopefully supporting you in best supporting your children and your families. Thanks very much.